A very good evening, everybody. Nice to have your company wherever you're tuning in all around Australia, all around the world, be it via Facebook or YouTube. SimShed Broadcasting, Real Sim Racing Australasia. Pick your page. We've got every angle covered for you across the social platforms as we welcome you to round 4 of the Nationwide Tracking Systems V8 Super Series, the Racecraft Simulations Montreal 150. Zach Capen alongside Chris Kisby with you in the commentary box this evening. 3 different winners in as many rounds, I should say, Chris, so far. If I can spit my sentences out, that'd be a very good start of the evening.
You'll get there eventually, mate.
Exactly. 3 different winners in as many rounds, mate. It's been a cracking start of the season, and based on what we're seeing in qualifying thus far, there's no reason why we can't add a 4th name to that list, remembering there are at least 3 in the top 5, Raina Costello, Matt Davis, Cameron Beacock, that have not tasted the champagne on the top step of the podium as yet. So it's a big one tonight, a huge race, 36 laps around here, and I'm very much looking forward to it, and I'm sure you are as well.
Yes, good evening, Zach, and good evening, viewers. JP back there handling all the video for you there. It's a very good evening to you all from down in Tasmania. Yes, it is. Good to see Raina up there, the good old blue emblem sitting there, so hopefully we can get that win tonight. And Cameron Jones is there again, Laces, Matt Davis, all the regular names sitting back up the top there. And hopefully we can get a few of those top 10, maybe give them a bit of curry as they go round this Gilles Villeneuve track.
Exactly right. So Long Beach cleaned up by Cameron Jones, Barber by Tom Heyman, who's buried in the pack as far as qualifying is concerned at the moment. He's well down the order. In 21st position is our Barber Motorsport Park winner. Then, of course, we had Oran Park last week. That was won by Lasse Vleernage and a big return to form for the NTS squad. Now we see who might reign supreme and emerge victorious in Canada. First of 2 trips to Canada for the championship this season. There has been a tweak to the calendar. We'll advise you that a little bit later on in the evening, which means that this is now, instead of being a 6-week stretch throughout North America, a 5-week stretch throughout North America. But again, we'll talk more about that at the end of the broadcast. 7 minutes left in qualifying. Probably a great opportunity for us to have a look at the circuit. Sorry, not the circuit. Let's go to the championship points firstly, of course. And Lasse Vleernage, after that win last week, he finds himself on top of the points table at this point in time. 18 points the margin over Cameron Beacock, and a further 10 back to Jacob Brewer. Cameron Jones, 401 points. Not his best night out a couple of weeks ago at Barber Motorsport Park, so he'll be hoping to stay consistent here in Canada and try and close the gap to Lasse. 397 for Raina Costello, rounds out the top 5. Then Chris Arlen, Craig Schultz, Alex Cork, Blake Urquhart and Dean Power make up the top 10. As for tonight, well, it's a big race here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Canada. We're going to take you on a hot lap very shortly with the great man himself, Matt Davis. He's standing by in our commentary position for us. But let's have a look at the circuit first up. 4.361 kilometres, 35 laps, a smidgen under. It's about 152.6, but I don't want to get too technical kilometres, the race distance tonight. But at least we got the 150 covered, unlike on the weekend when you had a Repco 497 on the mountain. But that's another story for another day. 58 litres, the fuel restriction tonight, of course. There will be 2 pit stops. The fuel burn is 3.8 litres per lap. 2 set tyre limit. Again, that's a big talking point throughout the championship. Where do you take that fresh green set of rubber? Do you do it in the first stop or the second stop? Tyre wear will be a big determining factor in all of that. And, of course, the track's set up for you. 8 o'clock race start. The server is actually set to early April, not the 15th of March, but that's another story for another day. Some little tweak in iRacing land. 21 the temperature ambient, 24 on track, and the wind speed 20 kilometres now going in a southerly direction. So that'll play some havoc, I'm sure, at some point tonight. Matt Davis, good evening to you. Sitting pretty at the moment. You've got some good speed here in qualifying, which means you're just the right guy to take us for a hot lap of the 4.361 kilometre Montreal circuit, mate. Good evening to you.
Zach, Chris, g'day guys, how are you?
Matt,
very well.
Good to see you.
You've only got a couple of minutes to do this, mate. And last week we enjoyed chatting to you, and we enjoyed the novelty of the fact that It was live, it was unrehearsed, it was unscripted. There were a couple of little niggles at the steering wheel on your part. Let's hope for just as much entertainment tonight. Quickly, you've obviously got some good pace here, so you'll be hoping to find your way onto the podium tonight, no doubt.
Yeah, as I said last week, Montreal is it's a favourite of mine. Actually, surprisingly, practice this week, I was only posting very high 135s, very low 136s for a quali lap. So to come out with a 35 flat almost is it was actually a bit of a shock. Even the boys have sort of said, geez, well done.
Yeah, we won't ask too many questions that might give away strategy or anything like that, but you'd obviously be confident of converting this form. And would this be the start of the turnaround in form for you as far as the championship is concerned? You haven't featured too prominently at the pointy end of the town in the 3 weeks thus far. Still 14 weeks to go, still a long way to go, but at some point you need to kick into second gear, don't you?
Yeah, look, I'd love to have this race change my momentum for me and start placing a few more top 10s. So yeah, look, we'll see how tonight goes. I'm hoping for another top 5, top 10 finish, so we'll see what happens.
All right, mate, the floor is yours. Talk us through this great circuit.
Righto, thank you. Down Casino Straight, guys, under the Dodge Bridge, top of 6th gear, back all the way down into second for the chicane. Jump the curb, bang, bang, out onto the wall of champions. They call it that because you've got to have balls of steel to go right out onto the wall and take up as much road as you can. Cross the start-finish line, 5th gear, back down into second. Turn it in, make the apex, quick shift down to first to let it coast through. Hug it nice and tight, ease the power on, into second, short shift, third. 4th, hard on the brakes, back down into second, throw the car half over the curb here, half over the curb there, into third, little bit of a wiggle. Little lift in 4th, back hard on the power, then hard on the brakes again. Turn it in, clip the apex, ease it on in second, short shift 3rd. Let it go right out to the edge of the road. Catch your breath, up into 5th gear. Hard on the brakes again. Jump the curb. Hug that curb a little bit. Let it slide right out onto the wall.
Oh.
Up into 4th.
Car control.
Up into 5th. Hard on the brakes. 5th, all the way back, right down into first, the slowest corner of the track, into the hairpin. Ease the hairpin. Ease it on in first. 2nd. 3rd, all the way up into 6th gear. Now it's time to take a breath. Absolutely full on track Montreal, and watch for later in the race, guys, as you come down the main straight here, because the pit exit, you're actually braking at the 2 boards. There's going to be a few moves there. Hard on the brakes again, back down into second. Let it slide, let it slide. Made a mistake there. Oh, there it goes. And again, ladies and gentlemen, that is what happens on the live hot lap.
I thought he was listening to Rex 2 there for a minute. Wiggle, 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 go.
It is absolutely full on, guys, so it's going to make for an action-packed race.
Well
You
done.
won't be surprised to learn, ladies and gentlemen, that there was no improvement on that fastest time of the night in that lap. 1:35.086 is his benchmark at this point in time. Which
I was actually, I was on for a faster lap than actually, Zach. I was
Until the
up on my fastest time until the last corner.
Just quickly, let's talk about a couple of key things here. We've got a minute, and you're the best person to tell us about this. Obviously, there are a lot of overtaking opportunities around here. The chicanes, they're all varying in their degree of difficulty, particularly around the back of the circuit, and as you saw there near the Wall of Champions. And the other thing too, slowdowns are always a factor here, particularly off that last corner, and that could be make or break for some people tonight.
Yeah, look, as you can see, that chicane right there, Zach, it's probably one of the tougher ones. You're right out on the edge of the grass, and as you saw, I just dropped the front wheel and locked it up. So that's definitely one to look out for. A lot of mistakes going to be had there. Coming into the Wall of Champions, you're at full commitment. You're at full send mode through there, so you're literally throwing the car over the curbs and praying to God that it takes to them and then comes back down nice and even and doesn't throw you out onto the wall there. So good opportunity coming down Casino Straight here. A lot of moves going to be had down here. A lot of slipstreams. So look, mate, it's going to be action-packed tonight. Turn 1's going to be a lookout as well. So definitely look into there. So that's going to be a tricky one. You're off canvas through there, but look, I just pray to God to make it to the end of the race and get a good start.
We hope to see you in the chat room at the end of the broadcast, mate, because that'll mean that you've actually had a really good run. Go
Yeah, we don't
well.
want to see you in the middle.
Exactly. First couple of laps are going to be hectic because this is one of the biggest fields of the season, 36 tonight.
Oh, I didn't even know there was 36 cars tonight, mate. So, yeah, it's definitely going to be tight to get 36 cars around on the first lap, so we'll see how we go.
Patience is a virtue, apparently, allegedly. Hey, go well, mate. We'll check in with you at the end.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, guys.
Matt Davis. Always entertaining when we go for a hot lap with him. They're getting better and better and better. And he almost put it in the wall twice. So just when you know, when you go on drive days and hot laps and that sort of stuff, Kisby, and they say, look, we're only allowed to take you at 85%. He was going at 110 there, all for the show. That was fantastic.
Oh, yeah. No, it was, as I said, I thought he was listening to a bit of Red Foo and LMFAO and wiggle, 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 wiggle.
Yes, exactly. Hey, I'm impressed knowing your demographic and the music. I'm impressed that you even knew who Red Foo was. That's nicely done. Let's get stuck into some race facts for you. We mentioned the weather and a couple of other things. Pace car, of course, will be internal tonight, not the iRacing one. Pit lane speed 64 kilometres an hour. The race is set down for 35 laps. Just gone after 8 o'clock, so the race will be starting any tick of the clock here. That's track time, of course. It's 8:42 Eastern Daylight Time as you tune in and join us. Great to have your company wherever you are tuning in. You can interact with us, send comments via the Sim Shed Broadcasting, all the Real Sim Racing Australasia Facebook pages. We are live on both tonight. We're also live over on YouTube. Incident count tonight, 17x, then 9x, every 9x after that. So 17, what's that, 26, 35, etc. There is no DQ limit, but obviously you don't want to get too many penalties around here when you've already got to do 2 pit stops in the race as it is. And safety cars don't always work in your favour too. So let's have a look here at some other things. 52% fuel limit, as we mentioned earlier. So that ensures that we will have some fuel drop. And looking forward to seeing what strategy play comes about if we do get a safety car. And I'm tipping we probably will tonight, Kisby, because of the fact that there are a lot of corners and sections of this circuit where runoff area is few and far between, is very, very minimal. So it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if we do get a safety car tonight. Let's turn our attention to the grid now as cars start lining up on the grid here. 2 tyre sets, of course, the limit tonight too, folks. Cameron Jones and Rainer Costello, the front row. Another good performance from Cameron Jones. Cameron Veacock, Lassif Leonard, second row. Matt Davis, Michael Lemasuri, a third row. Then we go back to Chris Island and Alex Court on the 4th row. Ben Morris and Peter Crossingham round out the top 10. And Ash Davis and Dean Powell line up on row 6. From 13. So some improvement in the latter stages of qualifying there. He jumped up 8 spots, Tom Heyman. Alongside him is Brian Cooper, Alan Dawson, Blake Urquhart, Jacob Brewer, Chris Barnes. Then row 10 is where you'll find Darren Caldwell and Simon Chadwick, Tim Mulford and Scott McCune from row 11, Ben Siren and Wade McMichael, I should say, from row 12. Row 13, Lindsay Hobbs and Sam Katakazinas. Row 14, Robert Crisdale and David Leslie. Row 15, Liam James and Steve Vella. Row 15 is where you see John Nicolau and also Craig Newell. Row 17, Craig Hopkins and Daniel Schultz. Row 18, Bradley Vaughan and Jim Delios. And that's that. What a big field. You got a tip for me, Kisby?
I'm going to stick my money on Rainer again. Rainer.
Yeah.
It
hasn't worked for you yet.
It hasn't worked for me yet, but it's got to work at all. Yeah. Every time he doesn't win is another day closer to the year.
That's exactly right. And if he does win tonight, 4 different winners start the season. We're ready to fire the Racecraft Simulations 150 as we go to Canada for the first time this season in the Nationwide Trucking Systems V8 Super Series. Let's go!
And
clean getaway. Jeez, that was tight for Lassif Leonard and Alex Court. On the run to turn 1, can they all scramble through here because it's very, very tight, but it's a great start from Rainer Costello to get the jump over Cameron Jones. And Veacock brings the rest of the field around, but the top 2 are bolted. Veacock, in fact, has got ahead of his teammate. That's important to note. And we've got trouble at turn 3.
19.
Couple of cars scraping the wall there. and that was inevitable. Rainer Costello, Cameron Peacock, Cameron Jones, Massive Leonage, Matt Davis, the top 5. Here's a replay from Bradley Vaughan. He went round at turn 1 and got collected for his trouble, and I'm pretty sure if you play it a little bit further, you'll see something at turn 3 as well, folks, on the simsnap.com iRacing photography replay. But let's go back to the front first and foremost and have a look at this. The top 2 are bolted. Costello, Peacock, Jones is going with them. Then it's a gap back to Leonage, Davis, Crossingham. Peter Crossingham up 4 spots already into 6th spot. Then Ben Morris, Ash Davis, they've all gained. Morris and Crossingham side by side now as they come down the casino straight. And we've got trouble at the hairpin, I think, from what Chris Kisby's saying there in the back as well. Which doesn't surprise me. Michael Limit-Surya. That was the problem at turn 4 that we're talking about. Between the timing screen and the broadcast screen, I heard the thud on the sound effects from the iRacing server, and I knew someone had gone in at turn 4. I just wasn't sure who. Now we know. Now, here's the trouble for Craig Hopkins coming down to the hairpin, the notorious hairpin. And, two cars in front ran into trouble. Yep. That'll do it every day of the week. 1 car on the grass further up there as well, but we've managed to get through the first lap without calling upon the in-race safety car, the SimShed Broadcasting NCS safety car. Rainer Costello, Cameron Peacock, and Cameron Jones, the top 3 here at the moment. Rasif Leonage sits where he started, as does Matt Davis. Morris, Crossingham, Davis, all up 3 spots respectively. Alex Court down 1 to 9th, and Tom Heyman up 3 spots to 10th. The big movers on the opening lap, but the biggest movers come from outside the top 10. 5-spot gain for Blake Urquhart. Down the inside, however, comes Cameron Peacock on Rainer Costello. Lead change, lead change. Peacock gets his nose in front. Costello draws back up alongside. Let's drive race, baby. Down the casino straight. Peacock with his nose in front. Who decides to yield when they get down here is unknown at this point, and it's critical, but they do give racing room, and they do, because it's only lap 2. That's a nice start. Peacock takes the lead away from Costello, but Costello wants to come back down on the inside as they run down to turn 1 and will do just that. Costello takes the lead back momentarily because Peacock comes back down on the inside. And have a look at Jones wanting to go with him as well. Through turn 2. Driving for the teammates, but he wasn't able to pull it off. But Jones is now right there on Costello's tail, and he's right in the thick of the sandwich. Unbelievable intensity here, and it's only lap 3. Costello on the inside, no. Car contact. The 3-4-4 has got a drive-through penalty. The contact on the 88 on lap 1. And that's, of course, Brian Cooper. So Cooper's heading to pit lane for contact on the 88 on lap 1, which is, of course, Dean Powell. Back to this battle, though, Chris Kisby. 135.7, the fastest lap of the race so far for Cameron Jones. Peacock's skipped 2 car lengths clear of Costello. Jones is still right there. Forget about what's going on further back in the pack, because our attention's right here. 4 positions gained for Crossingham, Davis, and Tom Heyman. Ben Morris has run into trouble. He slipped back down to 10th. Simon Chadwick, the biggest mover in the field so far, up 9 spots. In fact, make that 8 spots as he's been passed by Blake Urquhart. And Sam Katakazinas, I missed this, he's actually gained 10 spots already, so he's on a charge too.
Katakazinas, yeah, he's coming up through the... Oh, it's one of those Red Holden things. So, yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I've got to be unbiased, don't I? Yeah, okay. It's one of those Holdens. He's coming on up there. And he's coming up through the pack nicely. But as I say, it's 4 laps of 35. And these guys are racing as if it's the last 4 laps. So we just got to try and settle themselves down a little bit and get into a rhythm. Yep. And try not to push too hard without losing the spots in front. You know, you can sit there and just settle in behind. There's a little tap again by yeah.
Now, just having looked back through the field, here's an incident first up. on the replay. And this is Steve Vella, and he was one of the big movers in this field. And now he's been turned around. So Wade Michael has turned him around there, and that's unfortunate.
I was looking at that green car there, Zach, and I was just about to say, oh, and here comes Dill. No, it's not.
No, that's, yeah, exactly. Now, just having a look down through the field, Kisby, and I always like to check in here and see who our big movers are. Chris Ireland in there in 14th at the moment, but just further afield, Matt Davis has gained 5 spots. He sits 6th at the moment, right on Matt's tail. Peter Crossingham 7th, but Sam Katakazinas is now up to 15th, gained 11 spots. And 14 positions gained for Bradley Vaughan, who came from 35th on the grid to sit 21st right now. So that's the big mover early on, is Bradley Vaughan. Meanwhile at the front, Veacock leads. Costello second, Jones third. And have a look at this, nothing in it at the front. We'll have a look further back in the field a little bit later on, I am sure. But right now, how could you take your eyes off these three?
Yeah, and really, up there in 5th.
Exactly, JP, and he's all the back of Lassie Leonage as well. Have a look at this. We're on board with Alex Court here in 8th, who's all over the back of Peter Crossingham. So there are literally battles everywhere in the top 10. And this is one of the circuits that throws up great racing. It doesn't matter what category, what discipline. Montreal is a favourite of mine for so many reasons, but particularly tonight, you're seeing exactly how many guys in this series you've got to keep an eye on, JP, and the list is growing week in, week out. Cameron Veacock, Rainer Costello haven't got a race win yet this season, but very much in the thick of it and in a very good position to add their name to the winners list tonight. Only one of them will get the chance to do it, and there's still a long way to go, and it might not play out and work out for them, but right now they're doing everything they need to do to be noticed by everyone around them as far as the championship is concerned. Down the Casino Straight. Have a look at Davis all over the back of Leonage as well. Davis and Crossingham in there, Court and Heyman. Heyman up into the top 10 now. Ben Morris sits there in 10th. No surprise there. Drive-through penalty for the 079 for contact on the 055. And of course, that was Wade Michael making contact there with Steve Vella, was it? The 005, yes. So
005.
Yeah. Well, sorry, it came up on the screen as 055, but it's actually 005. Apologies for that, but yeah, it was the incident that you saw on screen there a short while ago.
Yep.
Yeah, you've been on the Rainer Costello bandwagon since the start of this championship, Chris Kisby.
I have.
Tonight, he's not letting you down tonight. He's really putting on a show.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to find your favourites and everything, and I'm a blue man at heart, and I've followed it since I was a young tacker. So, you know, the Alan Moffats and you know, the Dick Johnson. So you've got to stick with the Ford, and you've got to stick with who you're passionate with. And I really liked the way that Rainer was actually driving, and when I first saw him early. So I stuck with him, and hopefully he'll bring the bacon home for us today.
Well, let's have a look at this battle now too, folks. Darren Caldwell sits there in 15th at the moment. He's got Sam Katakazinas right in front of him. He's got Simon Chadwick right up his clacker. And not far away from them is Chris Ireland as well. And a bit of a lock up there. Almost brought trouble as they make their way around onto the mains on the Casino Straight one more time. Caldwell holding off Chadwick at this point in time as they head down the Casino Straight.
There's a couple of places on this track that I really, really like when I'm driving it. And the hairpin there into Casino Straight is one of them. If you get it right, it feels absolutely fantastic. Get it wrong, you're into the wall, and that's your race over. The other ones I like is the Wall of Champions, of course, and I find that easier than the chicane at the... Oh, there's another one round.
That's a big one too. The big moment. Down the main straight for Darren Caldwell. He was running so well here in the top 15, and I don't want to call that, Kisby, because that's the problem, isn't it? That didn't look like he got brought undone by the car behind him. It looked like he did it himself. It could be a bit of netcode though.
It could be. What's that, JP? Yes, so do we. Yeah. If I'm doing race control, I'll actually look at the project.
Sorry, Kesby, I'll just cut in here and just reiterate that what our director doesn't go out on the air, so we'll just relay what JP was saying in our earpiece for the benefit of the viewers, and then we'll let you continue. And that is that netcode does get penalised in the event that there was going to be contact anyway, and the race control officials will go through the tape and assess that before they make a decision. So watch this space, and if any action is taken on it, it'll come up on the bottom of the screen. Continue, Chris. Sorry.
Yeah, so that's right. Look, if you're watching the incident and it's clear, like sometimes you'll sit there and watch it, and there'll be at least a metre between the cars. Who's that?
Oh, jeez, have a look at this.
Another one.
Tom Heyman squeezing his way up on the inside. And Alex caught. Oh, my goodness gracious me. So Heyman's up there as well. No, my apologies, the two in front. We're watching Heyman, but we've actually got the two in front that are duking it out. So it's Crossingham and Court and Heyman. So let's just go back and have a look at that in a moment. But right now, Ray Costello is under serious pressure here from Cameron Jones as they head down towards turn 9. I was getting all excited about the wrong car there for a moment, but we corrected that. We're good. It always happens because
car 12.
If I can't quite see a number on a car there, Kisby, like you, I go for that graphic in the bottom of the screen, and if it says one name, I'm happy to run with it. But it's all good. We've sorted that out. Lap 8 of 35. How good's the racing been? Very intense so far. In Canada, we haven't had a caution as yet, but have a look at this. Tom Heyman all over the back of this battle between Crossingham and Court. Court just can't find a way through at the moment, and he's under serious pressure from a very, very determined youngster in Tom Heyman, who has had a busy week, like most. Headed to Mount Panorama last week, raced in an Aussie race car, now comes back to the sim world. Down the inside comes Court. And yet he still can't find a way through and get the job done. Heyman takes a lot of curb out of turn 14 onto the main straight, and now we go back to this battle between Scott McCune sitting there in 20th and 19th, which is of course Bradley Vaughan, who's continued to charge his way up through the field. Oh, this is great stuff. Vaughan up 16 places already in the number 100. McCune up 2 places from where he started on the grid. He sits 20th at this point in time. Caldwell on the fight back as well, sitting 21st after being turned round there a couple of laps ago at that very spot. Turn 1. Back to the battle for 6th, 7th and 8th here. Or 7th, 8th and 9th rather. Of course, Crossingham, Court and Heyman were on board, looking out the back of Peter Crossingham's car at this point in time.
Oh, what battles. You don't know where to look. I've got 3 screens of cars going, and I'm trying to figure out which one to look at to find out who's
exactly. And there are battles right throughout the field, Kisby, and that's what we like about this series.
Yeah, so I'll get back to that.
Here we go. Costello's been relegated to 3rd.
Oh, no.
Cameron Jones got up on his inside, and now Costello and Jones are going to drag race down at the casino straight. Now, again, it's a similar story to lap 1. Too early to be trying to fight too hard into here. It's a case of someone's got to yield, and this time it's Jones. Rainer Costello gets back through into 2nd. It's one of 2 things, Kisby. Who's got the cojones to outbrake, or to break last, and try and fight for the position, but at the same time, who wants to apply common sense to the situation? Oh, geez, that was tight, wasn't it? Jones on the inside coming into turn 2. Who wants to apply common sense to the situation, remembering that there's still 25 laps of this to go?
Well, that's right. And if you're pushing too hard coming down into that chicane before the Wall of Champions, and you hit that the ripple strip there, it's going to throw you into the wall. So you've just got to try and you want to be riding it, getting up on the tyres to get that straight through the chicane, but don't want to be going in there too fast that it throws you too far into the wall.
Drive-through penalty for the 6-2-3, and Court gets through to 7th on Crossingham. So 6-2-3 contact on car 18. That's not overly surprising. We thought that might be the case. So Chris Island cops the penalty for the contact on Darren Caldwell.
Yep.
And we go back to watch Alex Court, who's finally got clear air over Peter Crossingham, and Tommy Heyman's gone through with him. So Heyman's followed Court through. Heyman to 8th. The bloke that dominated when he was on the grid 2 weeks ago at Barber has missed the other 2 rounds of the championship through circumstances beyond our control. It's other commitments and real-world stuff getting in the way, obviously. But he's back with a vengeance tonight and charging his way through the field. A safety car would spice things up, wouldn't it? Fair dinkum. Cameron Veacock leads across the line. Rainer Costello and Cameron Jones 2 and 3. Less than a second separates 1, 2 and 3 in this race. This is lap 11, 10 in the book. 25 to go. And if it's anything like this for the next 25 laps, I'll be running on 6 cylinders at the end of this, not 8. Across the line comes Alan Dawson now, who sits 11th at this point in time, trailing Ben Morris by half a second. And he's got about a second and a half then back to Chris Barnes in the 74. Blake Urquhart's following him through, and Simon Chadwick as well. I mean, this is super stuff.
If my calculation correct, you get about 19 on the top lap, first lap. So, no, maybe a couple more.
Yeah, you got to look a long way down before we've got a car lap down. Have a look at that. Bradley Bourne in charge continues up to 18th now. A gain of 17 positions if you don't mind. What a charge through the field this has been. Back to Tom Heyman, who's all over the back of Alex Court. And they're catching the cars in front. Heyman's going to run here, but he's going to be on the outside for the hairpin. Side by side and a little bit of contact. I wouldn't mind betting between Heyman and Court. Heyman to the outside, into the hairpin. And then pushed a little bit too hard into the corner, and he goes wide, and Court comes back up on the inside. Davis are just ahead of that. Lap traffic in the way too.
33 on the left lap there.
This is just super stuff, Kisby.
Oh, but you still got 33 fighting for those places.
I know.
So it's just, and we got, what they got? 136 behind, but relative. Yeah, I just can't quite see how far behind they are, but
if Rainer can keep his cool here and keep his head, it can't be easy being the meat in the sandwich when you got teammates that will no doubt gang up on you at the end of the race if needs be. Teammates there working hard to go. They will want to 1-2, Veacock and Jones. They won't like the fact that Costello's in the middle of them at the moment. They'll want him behind, but Costello will want to be in front of these guys by the end of 35 laps. Back we go to Leonard, who's broken clear of Davis. Davis having a good run tonight, sitting there in 50s, best run of the season thus far. Ash Davis back behind him, the big mover in this race thus far. Two of them, in fact, that are clear cut. One is Bradley Bourne up 18th place from 35th to 17th, most likely, and Sam Katagazinas up 12 spots from 26 to 14. They're the big movers in this race thus far. Back we go to 21st. That's Tim Mulford at the moment. Following through, of course, Darren Caldwell and Scott McCune. And they make their way down the back straight here in Montreal towards the second of the chicanes, or third of the chicanes, actually. There's 4 of them on this circuit. 3 and 4. 6 and 7. 8 and 9. And then 13 and 14. Into the hairpin they go. Tim Mulford sits there 21st at the moment. Lap 13. He's on the agenda now for the leaders. So these guys are still completing lap 12. And this field, I'd love to bring up a track map or something that shows you where everyone is, because this field is spread out right around the 4.36 kilometres of this circuit. There it is in the top corner. Just have a look at it. It is a logjam. It's like peak hour. Except moving a lot faster than the Bruce Highway would. Have a look at that. Magnificent. Tommy Heyman sitting there in 8th at the moment. He's lost 3.4 seconds to Alex Court. So whether he's copped a slowdown or he's run off the circuit, let's have a look at the simsnap.com iRacing photography replay for you. He was battling all the way to turn 1, and he went to the outside, and he went too deep. Locked it up. Went straight through.
Yeah.
That'll do it every day of the week. We'll cop a slowdown for that, and Court continues on quite comfortably in position number 7. So the hard charge has come unstuck for Tommy Heyman, but he's up 5 spots from where he started. Yes.
I've done that a couple of times.
Hope you're in. Drive-through penalty for 005, multiple car contact on lap 7. And that was, of course, Steve Vella. And that's unfortunate for Steve because he was on the receiving end of some contact earlier in the race that led to a drive-through penalty for another competitor. Now he's got one himself. Been a few penalties tonight, but it's good to see race control acting swiftly on that stuff, Chris.
Yes, it's quite good. There must be a good couple of fellas in there tonight because I know when we're doing it one at a time, we don't get to it that quick, but we do try and get it within 3 laps. What I aim for when I'm doing it by myself, 2 if I've got 2 people. And yeah, if you keep on top of it, you're right. And as per probably most, the guys in there want to fix things on track.
Little bit of a nudge there from Ben Siren on Craig Newell, who's just gone through into position number 20. Siren looking to fight back on the inside as they come to 1, but he yields. This is the battle for 20th position, 19th position rather on the racetrack. This is some good stuff. Everywhere you look, there's a positional battle to talk about. And it hasn't died down significantly in the first 14 laps of this race. There's Scott McCune sitting 16th at the moment, holding off Darren Cordwell. Dean Pout just ahead of them up the road. He was the next car at the back of shot that you saw. And there's a car with some significant damage moving along there as well.
Yeah,
that's David Leslie, I think, the 666 in 34th. The 14 of 35. Hope you're enjoying our coverage wherever you're tuning in around Australia, all around the world, in fact. And we've got action on pit road. We've got Veacock, we've got Jones, we've got Leonard and Davis all in. So to Ash Davis as well. A man that's continued on is Rainer Costello. Another lap for the youngster in the 44. So pit lane is a hub of activity right now. Court continues on for another lap. Tom Heyman continues on for another lap.
Yeah, that
15:35.
Coming.
And I dare say this is the first of 2 stops for these guys.
Yep.
The big reminder, of course, for those of you just joining us, they've only got 1 spare set of tyres in that pit lane. So they've got to choose wisely whether they take the new tyres now for 20 laps or take the new tyres later for a shorter, hard period of racing.
That's a tough question.
It certainly is, Kisby, because let's face it, if you've got 1 spare set and you hold it up your sleeve until later in the race, you can go a little bit harder in those closing laps compared to the guys that might take them now.
It is, because I'm just trying to think of what I would do. And you know, I've got a nice warm set of tyres sitting there that aren't handling too bad, that could go off in the next 5 or 6 laps before my next pit stop. But do I take the chance of keeping those?
Rainer Costello's in the pit lane. A bit of a wiggle to get in there, but he's on the pace. He's in the pit lane. Rainer Costello, the race leader, in 23.9 seconds for Veacock, 23.5 for Jones in the pit lane. So my guess is that they've taken fuel and tyres now, and they're going to do 20 laps on this set. That's my guess. Alex Court, Tom Heyman also in the lane. Reminding you that Chris Barnes is coming in as well. Bradley Vaughan, he's due next as well. Cameron Veacock, the race leader here. The top 5 in the lane. Veacock, the race leader on corrected order, depending upon where Costello and co come out. And Costello's gone. And Costello's gone 9 seconds earlier than anybody else. Costello has gone for track position over rubber. And Costello's rubber will be put on next stop. Wow. Big gamble this one, Chris.
It is. He must be really happy with the tyres at the moment to not take tyres at this stage. And if you could do that and then have the fresh rubber for the run home, I think that's the good call. Because this middle of the race, you want to just settle down, get into a rhythm, and just go round and round and round and round. Whereas in the later part, you want your best tyres, you want everything there, ready for the real hard slog with the guys at the end, the last couple of laps.
Well, 58 litres was what the tank was reduced to tonight. 3.8 litres a lap. So you're looking at somewhere in the vicinity of 14, 15 laps, no more than that, to a tank of gas. So they've taken... Oh, no! Off the circuit!
Morris.
Big spin for Benny Morris, but he gathered it up and got back out there without too much pain. But he's just on the back of that battle now by a longer margin. He went for the move to try and get by crossing him, and it didn't work for him. Now, let's just talk about a couple of things here, Chris Kisby. When I look at 58 litres divided by 3.8, that gets me 15.2 laps. So they've all come in at 15, and that means that, theoretically speaking, that critical number where you can top up and get home is the end of lap 20. So at that point, Rainer Costello's got a decision to make. Do I go in and take the rubber and the fuel now, or do I continue on for a little bit longer? And everyone else, they've got a decision to make as to how long they want this stint to be, because they can stretch it to probably lap 30 before they even need to worry about the fuel factor. So there's a lot to play out in this race, and we're only halfway there. We're not even halfway there. We're only at the start of lap 17. It's when we get to the midway point of lap 18 that we hit a half race distance here in Montreal, Canada. The Racecraft Simulations 150, it's delivering some action already. Hope you're enjoying it wherever you're tuning in.
It is. I just heard race control with car 44, so I don't know what's going on there.
Rainer Costello's going to be wearing the brunt of something from race control, potentially. Let's have a look and wait and see on that. Could they get into something coming into the pit lane? Rainer Costello, Cameron Beacock and Cameron Jones, the top three at this point in time. Lasse Vlainage, Matt Davis, Ash Davis. They are 4, 5 and 6 with Alex Corton 7th, Tom Heyman, Peter Crossingham and Ben Morris making up the top 10 at the moment. 17 of 35. It's SimShed Broadcasting's coverage of the Nationwide Tracking Systems V8 Super Series, the Racecraft Simulations Montreal 150 from the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Canada. How good has it been thus far? This is the lap that'll get us to halfway. Rainer Costello leads this race by 5.6 seconds, but what we should point out, lap to lap, 0.2 of a second slower than Beacock and Jones that time around. The fastest car on circuit was Lasse Vlainage with the 36.3 that time around. Now, what's interesting here, there's a couple of things. SimSnap photography replay here for you. This is Lindsay Hobbs, the number 12 for Excalibur Esports, coming down to the hairpin. I don't like his chances of getting out. No, there it is.
No.
And he loses
so
his spot in the process.
So Ray's got to sit there and he's got to try and push that lead out a little bit, and then hopefully the other guys will go in earlier, and that will mean that he'll actually make up just a bit more in secondaries for his to be able to put his second set of tyres on. So he's just got to drive. He has to drive not within himself, but he has to push it just that little bit, just to try and keep that lead, so that when they pit, because I think they did pit a lap earlier, and then he can actually get that overlap.
So Peter Crossingham now on our screens here. This is a replay on the run down to the hairpin. And this is a move on Tom Heyman. Heyman actually going rather slowly going down to the hairpin there. So big move from Crossingham to go up into 8th. Morris in 10th, and Heyman the meat and the sandwich of that three-way fight at the moment. There are battles everywhere on this racetrack, but the top
halfway point
6 are pretty well spread out as we hit half race distance now. We've just gone past halfway, as a matter of fact, rather.
Yep.
Lap 19 of 35. Costello, Beacock, Jones. Now, this is the thing that's concerning for me, Chris Kisby. Costello was in the pit lane in his bay, 9 seconds less than Cameron Beacock. His advantage on the circuit is only 5.3. We know he's coming in for fuel. We know he's got to take tyres. Is this the point where we start to question whether it was a good move or a bad move for Rayner to not take tyres in that first round of pit stops?
Yeah, I'm still... I really can't answer this one because it really doesn't feel... It feels right, but it doesn't look like it's going to be right. That's the thing for me. Going on back traffic, how he gets through the back markers, how the other guys get through the back markers, that's all going to come into play. Hopefully, he can keep it out there, and those tyres are going to tight round the head.
Good work from Benny Morris trying to squeeze it down on the inside of Heyman. It was just a bridge too far for him. And Heyman holds on to ninth position for the moment. He's trying to get back where he was, which is the car in front, Peter Crossingham, in 8th at this point. Alex Court sits 7th rather, and of course Ash Davis is 6th. Now, just having a look through, of all the cars in the top 17, Rayner Costello is the only one to have done the splash and dash rather than take on the tyres as well in that first round of pit stops. Heyman all over the back here of Crossingham. Lap 20 of 35. Hope you're enjoying our coverage wherever you're tuning in this Tuesday night. Simshed Broadcasting's coverage of the NTS Championship. Of course, don't forget the Goodyear Auto Care Verana T2 V8 series is coming up tomorrow night from the same time, 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Of course, Matty Davis and Aidan Schultz doing a great job of the commentary there. And all roads next week lead to America for some action in round 5. And we'll preview that a little bit later on this evening. Across the back straight we go. Here's Cameron Veacock. He sits 2nd at the moment. That car you can see ahead, I'm not sure if that... I don't think that's Rayner Costello. I think that's a lapped car.
That is a lapped car.
Rayner Costello is the next one up the road. So Costello is within sight when you come onto the main straight. There he is crossing the start-finish line. You can just see him now at the top of shot. And we ride on board with Veacock, who's got Jones right up his clacker.
You got Rayner coming up on all the back markers now. He's just passed one, so he can get past these reasonably quickly. They're 13 seconds, 14 seconds front. So, yeah. Get a couple of the slower guys in between him and Cameron, and hopefully that'll slow him up a little bit. Ooh, a little bit sideways around the corner there, coming through the back S.
Chris Kisby's really hedging his bets here with Rayner Costello tonight. Hey, look at this. Tommy Heyman up on the outside there, trying to get by Crossingham, couldn't do that. Now under pressure from Benny Morris, so he guts back to the inside to try and defend that, and does so successfully. And they tuck back in and follow through. Status quo line astern, 8th, 9th and 10th at the moment. Good fight here. It's the closest spot in the top 10 apart from the teammates. Huffman down the inside. Looks to take Morris with him, but Morris unable to get through, crossing him up to the fight. He slots in behind Heyman there in 9th place, and Ben Morris still with all the work to do to try and fight away by crossing him, but Heyman's on a charge. Here comes Morris again, looking down the inside. He tucks back in and yields. Going through the chicane at the back of the circuit. Now they're under the hairpin. How good's this from Heyman? Now we're about to see a move here.
Rayner's
Alex Court on Ash Davis. Sorry, Kisby, I'll come back to you. Alex Court on Ash Davis, and job done. Nicely done. And then Davis gets him back on the inside, going down the casino straight. Rayner Costello, Cameron Veacock both in the lane, and that's big because Cameron Veacock will fuel to the end, but he's now on a different strategy to his teammate Cameron Jones, and it's Jones, the round 1 winner, that leads the way in Montreal. Poor old safety car. He's sitting there at the end of the lane feeling lonely. He hasn't been asked for tonight. Hasn't been called upon once.
There we go. Yep. No,
now that's it.
Early. Good job.
Costello,
21 seconds.
21.6. And that's a quick stop in the scheme of things. Really good. Considering that Jones was in the lane for 23.5 on his first stop, his corresponding first stop. So that's advantage Costello for the moment until we see how it all balances out once people come in and complete their second stop. Corrected order's a big thing here. It's a bit hard to gamble and wager and guess that at the moment.
He's under the, as you say, he's under the first stops of the other two, Vassif and Cameron. But I was about to say, Cameron were catching him pretty fast there. So his tyres must have gone and he's made the decision to go in and get him.
Here we go. Cameron Jones in the lane. And this is a defining and critical moment of the race. What about Lassif Leonard? He's just been sitting there patiently and quietly tonight. Oh no. Was that Heyman wide? No, it was lap traffic. My apologies. No, that's all good. I think it'll be one of his teammates in that case. Here's Rainer Costello coming down. We want to keep an eye on this because Cameron Jones is in the lane now. He's in his pit box now. That was Heyman going in just ahead. So Heyman's in the lane to fuel up to the end as well. Jones is still in his box. And Costello's coming by the line. Rainer Costello's going to leapfrog Cameron Jones. What a moment for Rainer Costello. And Cameron Jones is still sitting in the lane.
30 seconds.
He's been it. There's something going wrong. Horribly wrong for Cameron Jones. He's slipping down the order. He's been there for 40 seconds now. Has he picked up an iRacing penalty? Unbelievable. And
wow,
the game changes again, Chris Kisby.
It does. Yeah, now it's starting to play into our hand. Yeah, no, wow. I was just sitting there watching it tick over. And I thought he's got to go shortly. And mine's now stuck on 34 seconds. And
52 seconds he was in the lane for. He's just got back out onto the racetrack. He's behind Peter Crossingham in 16th and 17th, respectively. Unbelievable. Lassif Leonard, Matt Davis, Alex Court, Ash Davis, and Ben Morris, the top five. But the top five have not completed their second stop yet. Rainer Costello, the first of those that has stopped twice. He got out ahead of Cameron Veacock. Veacock was only in the lane for 13 seconds, but Costello got out ahead of him and by a significant margin. Benny Morris now in the lane for his second stop. There is so much happening here at the moment. We've got a track map up on our screen here for you. I'm just wondering if we can get a totem pole up on our broadcast feed here, JP, just so we can have a look at the positions gained and lost so far tonight. And that's the big story. 8th and 9th. There they are. Chadwick and Chris Sauer, 12 and 18 positions gained respectively. Jones has lost 15. Chris Barnes up there in 6th position has gained 12 as well. So there have been some really big movers tonight. As we continue SimShed Broadcasting's coverage, try saying that 3 times fast, of the NCS Championship. It's been good fun thus far. This is only round 4. And we've got 13 to go. Calendar change announcement coming up for you a little bit later on, so stick around for that. There's a lot to get through in the post-race tonight. Top 3 will join us, and Chris Kisby will stay here too. Let's take this opportunity now at the 20-lap mark, 24-lap mark rather, to crank it up, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the sound of the V8s roaring around Montreal. Jeez, it's been good fun so far, ladies and gentlemen. That was the first time in over 41 minutes of racing that we have had a chance to just kick back and relax and let you enjoy the sounds and sights of Montreal. And what a ride that was. Back we go. Positional battle continue.
Well, I tell you what there,
35. Yes, Chris Kisby.
I tell you what, Zach, it was a bra break moonlight neck to neck at the racing. And our friend in Scotland that's watching from there, he'll know what I'm talking about.
Exactly right.
Over in Scotland.
That's a good point. The audience is global tonight. We've got one bloke listening, watching over in Scotland. It just goes to show sim racing is universal. It brings everybody together, and you can all tune in. And if memory serves, they don't start daylight saving for a couple of weeks over there in Scotland. So, what is it? 11 hours. It's only 10:30 in the morning over there. So clearly he's got a day off work or he's watching from the office. If that's the case, I like the commitment.
That's right. And I just realised today it's autumn.
It is. It's autumn in Australia.
Autumn. Yeah.
Unless you're in Queensland where it continues to be a sweat sock. That's another story for another day. 27 to 35.
Yes, I do have my jumper on again tonight.
To be honest, Kisby, it's got warmer in the last couple of days since we went into what is officially known as autumn than what it was in the whole of summer up here. It was a very strange summer in Queensland this year.
It is.
I mean, they're all strange when you're 112 years behind, but that's not the point. Like 27 to 35, this has been a significantly impressive performance.
Wow.
From Cameron Veacock in fourth position, and Rainer Costello, who leads the race. The margin first to second is about 4.6 seconds at the moment. Rainer Costello has this one if he keeps it on the black stuff. Lassif Leonage and Alex Court, they're in a good position as well for a podium finish here. Once they can complete their second round of pit stops, they're the only two that have not completed their pit stop within the top 16 here, as far as that second round is concerned. So watch Lassif Leonage next time by the line, and this should be, or it'll either be this lap or the next one, I'd say, that he'll come in. Here's Craig Newell at the moment on screen, lap position number 17. He's, of course, the communications manager of our naming rights sponsor, Nationwide Tracking Systems, NTS. Great to have Craig Newell on board as part of the series, not just as a racer, but also as a supporter and sponsor as well. And we're riding on board with him through the back section of the circuit. Sitting there in position number 17, he's gained 15 positions tonight, which, according to my totem pole, is more than anyone else on the racetrack. So he's done a very nice job. The only problem is he's still got one pit stop to come, so that might undo that. Jen Catacasinas, Robert Crisdale, 12 positions each gained, and they have completed their second pit stop. Lassif Leonage does continue on into lap 28 before we get ready for his pit stop here. And sorry, JP, I'm just having a little bit of trouble hearing you in my ear there, mate.
Yeah.
But we'll press on anyway. Lap 28 of 35. Lassif Leonage, Alex Court, Rainer Costello, Cameron Veacock, Matt Davis, the top five. So Matty stayed where he started. Lassif Leonage is due for a pit stop any tick of the clock. Let's have a look at the simsnap.com iRacing photography replay for you. This is Simon Chadwick on the rundown for 9.5 Motorsport to turn 13 and 14. Does he become the first one of the night to meet the Wall of Champions? No, he's just making a move down there on the inside of the 062. A very nice move it was too. A little bit taily on the exit, but gathered it up. That's fine. That was on Alan Dawson, of course, the 062.
On a 15-lap run.
Lassif Leonage continues on.
Pressing on, 15.
By my numbers, Kisby, this has to be pit lap, because we said there earlier when we crunched the numbers, you get somewhere between 15 and 16 laps to a full tank. He wouldn't have underfueled it, so this has to be, and you can't overfuel it, obviously, so this has to be the lap that he comes in. Surely. We're watching it, lap 29, 136.83.
Fuel saving if he doesn't come in.
And he's done some awesome lap times. He's only 0.3 of a second slower than Rainer Costello that last time round on tyres that are 15 laps old, and Rainer's on a fresher set that's only what are we, 8 laps old. So,
8 laps.
I mean, it's been a very impressive run from Lasse Villeneuve, but the problem that he faces now, when he comes out of the lane, he's still going to be on this set of tyres. So that's advantage Reina Costello as far as I'm concerned. That's if everything, if all the boxes are ticked at Reina's end, if he's taken enough fuel, etc.
One can only hope on that particular score.
Well, if it's the case, it'll be 4 different winners to start the season if Reina Costello or Cameron Veacock or Matt Davis win this one tonight. Lasse Villeneuve is charging towards pit lane. Here we go. Lap 29 and he's in. Alex Court can go one more if he pleases.
Spot on with
we'll
your
wait and
time
see
there,
on
mate.
that. Reina Costello, we are watching him now. It's not every day my maths serves me well, Kisby, but when it does, I'll take it. Don't you worry about that.
It's better than me.
Both the NCS cars are in. Alex Corden as well. Here comes Reina Costello to the braking zone. Now he needs to be clean through here, and he is. Across the line he'll go. Cameron Veacock's closing in. Veacock's only, 4 seconds away from Costello. Let's wait and see how that plays out. Lasse Villeneuve is moving, but it's not going to be enough to stop Reina Costello from going through. However, he has got out ahead of Cameron Veacock. Villeneuve is second. Villeneuve is second in Canada for the moment.
On an older set of tyres.
And Veacock slots into third. Costello on the fresh tyres, gone. 3 seconds up the road.
So this will play into his hand.
Davis has got by Court as well, so Matty's up into fourth.
Because you've got Veacock's got to try and get past Leonard, which means those two will battle, and then Reina should be able to get a little bit more of a lead.
Well, not only that, Kisby, he's on the fresher set of tyres.
That's exactly right, yeah.
He is on the fresher set of tyres. Veacock pitted on lap 21 as well, but he took tyres back on lap 15.
Yeah.
Or 14, whenever he pitted the first time round.
So
Leonard took tyres in the first stop as well. So Costello's on the fresh set. Let's have a look at Cameron Jones. This has been a fight back from Cameron Jones. Back to 8th. Ben Morris at 7th. Tom Heyman in behind. Jones there in 9th, and Chris Barnes rounds out the top 10. We've got a 3-way fight for 7th in the closing stages here, with Jones trying to go with Morris and Heyman just losing ground. And very difficult fuel strategy and race strategy game tonight for these guys. The fuel not a problem, but the tyre selections. Again, if we'd had a safety car thrown up there at some point, that might have actually changed their minds with regards to tyres. But yeah, you definitely had a gamble, a decision to make tonight, whether it was going to be a short first stint on the tyres or a short second stint on the tyres. Reina's gone the short second stint. It's paying dividends for him at the moment. We have got less than 5 laps to go. Costello, Leonard, Veacock, Davis caught the top 5. You're watching the battle for 7th rather. Morris, Jones and Heyman, with Barnes and Crossingham not too far away. Barnes at least. Lap traffic in there behind Tommy Heyman as well. Full tilt through turn 2 as they get on the accelerator out of there one more time. This is Jones all over the back of Morris. Can he find a way by? Not an ideal night for him. 52 seconds in the second stop. He copped a penalty. He'll be ruining that for the rest of the night because he could have been very much in a position to be our first 2-time race winner this season, and it's not going to be. Off the circuit goes Heyman very briefly, loses some ground. That'll just about rule Tommy out of the positional fight here for 7th and 8th. They already lost a lot of ground. Then guys down the inside, Jones can't get through. Reina Costello, Lasse Villeneuve, the margin is 3 seconds. Veacock's all over the back of Leonard. It's only 0.8 of a second between those two at the moment, but we're watching this battle between Jones and Morris until such point that Jones is able to make a move and find a way by. But Morris, to his credit, not making it an easy task for him at the moment. 32 or 35 as they come down the back straight. These guys on the end of their 31st lap rather, yet to start lap 32. But Costello is on the run home. 4 laps to go. What a race it's been in Montreal.
A special shout out to Craig Newell there too. He got in between.
Chris, can
Rayner
you
let him in
thoughts from you?
between. Yeah. Okay. Have you got me? No. Yeah. Okay. So.
Yeah, I've got you, Kisby. Sorry, I froze there for a moment. My apologies. Getting that played up.
Rayner actually put Craig Newell between himself and Lasseter. And to his credit, Craig Newell got to the side, let Lasseter and Cameron go, and the battle can still be on. That was really good driving by that lap driver.
Yeah. There it is from Cameron Veacock. We right on board with him. The car ahead is Lasseter Villeneuve. There he is. They're closing on Rayner. They've reeled it back to 2.8 seconds, but that's nowhere near enough with only 3 laps to go. They need to push hard, but they're on absolute shredded. Oh, Morris and Jones. They were side by side going into 8. Morris a little bit wide on the exit, Jones up on the inside, but that's going to put him on the outside for the hairpin. Have a look at this. Magnificent racing from these two. Jones to the outside, Morris the inside, still side by side. Round the hairpin they go. Morris still holds the spot, and here comes Heyman as well. Just when I thought Heyman was going to be out of a chance for 7th, he's back in this fight because they've been scrapping for 3 laps now, Morris and Jones. And Heyman's trying to find a drafting partner, a dance partner here. Who's the last of the big breakers? It's Jones around the outside. Oh, Kamui Kobayashi style. How good's that? Heyman sideways off the wall of champions as well. We've got 3 to go in Montreal in this positional battle, not decided yet. Jones to 7th. He's lost 6 positions tonight, but he'll earn a lot of respect on the way he's fought back from that stop-go penalty. 33 of 35. The battle continues. This one for 2nd. Veacock's within half a second of Villeneuve now. Costello gone. 2.8 seconds up the road.
Lap traffic between Costello and Villeneuve?
It certainly is. Thankfully, it looks like lap traffic has got wind of the fact that the faster cars are coming through and has got out of the way cleanly. Well done to the 88 there.
Yeah,
they
well
go
done,
across the casino straight here. Lasseter Villeneuve has got just a smidgen of breathing space. And it's not enough because Veacock's still right there. The slightest slip up from Villeneuve and Veacock will be through. You do not want to slow down at this point. You do not want a penalty. You do not want an off track. Here's a replay on the subject. Tom Heyman running into trouble through turn 8 and 9. Oh no! Sorry, it was 3 and 4. My apologies, was it? Or was it 8 and 9? I didn't 8 and 9. My apologies. I didn't quite get a good shot of it, but he's come together with Benny Morris, and that has seen him catapult down the order to 18th or 19th position. Tom Heyman. Unfortunate end to the night for him.
Come on, Rayner. To quote one of the great broadcaster, come on, you good thing.
Yes. Oh, dear. I love it. Go, you good thing.
Go, you good thing.
Chris put a handy. That's been a long time since we've heard that reference, isn't it? The old 2003 Rugby World Cup. Vivid memories of that come flashing back right now.
Those of you that don't know
and
me.
now have a look at this. Veacock down the inside of Villeneuve. There was barely enough room to pull it off, but he found a way through. Veacock to 2nd. Villeneuve back up on the outside. A drag race between the two Commodores down the casino straight, and literally no room for Veacock. Oh, Lasseter Villeneuve with lap traffic in the way then. Villeneuve and Veacock, have a look at this. Down the inside, no. Villeneuve holds on. They had to change their racing line halfway through the corner because of, or halfway through the run down the casino straight, rather, because of lap traffic. Last lap in Canada. A white flag in the air. Rayner Costello's on his way home. Villeneuve continues to hold off Veacock. Davis caught Davis, 4, 5, and 6. Jones is 7th, and that's about where he'll end up unless Benny Morris has other ideas. What a performance this has been from Rayner Costello.
Oh, mate, that's gold.
He's bringing out all the sporting paraphernalia with references tonight, isn't he, Chris Kisby? How good's this?
Showing my age.
Let's just talk about this. Let's just talk about this for a moment. This guy, Rainer Costello, Lachlan Murphy, they teamed up last year to win the GAC Bathurst 1000 in a superb performance, of course.
Top
Then, of
stuff.
course, Lachlan's going off and doing some other things, and he's part of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club programming now, and that's good to see. But this guy has stayed with the NCS series, has fought hard the last couple of weeks, had a couple of results not go his way. Tonight, ran a different strategy to everybody else. It's a strategy move that, and a gamble at that, that's going to pay off significantly. Down the casino straight for the last time.
That's the way, Rainer.
That's it. Exactly.
Yeah,
The horse, the
champion.
prancing horse, the Mustang. On top in Montreal.
Let's
Costello makes it four
Well
different
done.
rounds and as many rounds in the NTS Super Series. He does it in Montreal.
Oh, well done, Rainer. Don't lose it before you hit the line.
Brilliant. Now we've still got to get through the cool-down lap, and then we can make it all official for you, ladies and gentlemen. But that is a superb performance from Rainer Costello, from Lassip Leonage and Cameron Veacock. Great fight between those two in the end. Veacock just falling short, and at least he did have a crack. I mean, that move down the inside, there wasn't a car width there. He invented some room, I'm sure of it, to get by on the penultimate lap, but Leonage ended up just having the legs out of that corner. It's always so hard to get the foot to the floor, getting out of the hairpin, particularly in these big, bulky, uncomfortable supercars. Matt Davis in for fourth, Alex Court fifth, Ash Davis, that was a good drive to sixth, Ben Morris seventh, and the pole sitter eighth. That was, of course, Cameron Jones. Chris Barnes ninth, and Peter Crossingham came home 10th. The big movers of the night, Sam Katakazinas and Robert Crisdale, 13th and 14th respectively, each gained 13 places. One of the biggest movers of the night, Craig Newell, also from 32nd to 19th, 13 places gained. So that's rare that you see that, Chris Kisby, in a night where, in a race where there are 30-odd cars on the grid, 3 drivers with the exact same number of positions gained.
Yeah. Oh, what a night. Look at that. It's just been one hell of a great night of racing. I really, really enjoyed that. That's one of the best nights of racing. On.
Now, this is the interesting thing here. Rainer Costello has just let a few of these guys by on the cooldown lap, remembering that it's within the regulations that you have to complete the cooldown lap and get back to pit lane without running out of fuel. Now he goes down the outside and reassumes the position here. And look at that, the Cogler. Oh, the Cogler boys. Have a look at that. 4 wide, if you don't mind. There's a photo opportunity for them. Excellent stuff. Rainer Costello, quickest race of the season thus far, 57 minutes 45. It went safety car free. That's only the second time that's happened this season as well. We had a safety car free race, surprisingly, at Long Beach in California. And then we had a safety car free race here tonight. So brilliant racing from all concerned. Now Rainer Costello, the youngster, the youthful exuberance is about to cut loose with some burnouts. Enjoy this, folks. Let's crank up the volume.
Light it up, boys.
Brilliant.
Light it up.
Exactly. That is
What a
just
drive.
a brilliant drive and a very level-headed performance. I mean, to take the gamble to run 21 laps on that set of tyres at the start and run a completely different strategy to everyone around you, Chris Kisby, that takes balls at the best of times. But in a race where they were so evenly matched, him, Veacock, also Cameron Jones, it was a big gamble and it paid off. It doesn't always, but Ford on top, and that's, I think, 2 for Holden, 2 for Ford so far this season.
Yeah, it is. It just shows how much these guys must think about their pit strategies, where they're going to take it, where they're not going to take it, how much are they going to save fuel. I mean, in both series, this series, gentlemen's, you hear the good guys, they are talking about it all the time, and they will note every single thing down. What scenario? What happens if we don't get a yellow flag? Can we get through? What's our critical lap for this? Rayner, hats off to you tonight, mate. Good job. You're a champion, and congratulations.
We'll get the top three in here in just a moment for our post-race show. Of course, folks, stick around. We're not going anywhere. We've got about 40 minutes to just shoot the breeze with these boys, and then we'll wrap things up at 10:30 Eastern Daylight Time. There's the results on screen for you. We'll run through these as swiftly as possible. Rayner Costello getting the job done for Ford, 3 in the top 10, 7 for Holden, but hey, everyone only remembers who wins, as they say. Lassif Leonage second, then Cameron Veacock. Big gap, then back to our own Matt Davis. Great job from him. He's best finish of the season thus far. And Alex Court backs up second last week with 5th this week. Ash Davis in for 6th. So both the Davis boys in the top 10 there. Ben Morris, 7th. Cameron Jones, Chris Barnes and Peter Crossingham made up the top 10. Alan Dawson was at 11th in the end. There were only 18 on the lead lap. Simon Chadwick for 12th. Sam Katakasinas and Robert Crisdale, as I mentioned, 13 positions gained respectively, 13th and 14th in the finishing order there. They followed each other through, literally. Tim Mulford in for 15th. Jacob Brewer, Darren Caldwell and Chris Island was the last one to finish on the lead lap. And then Dean Powell and Liam James take us back to 20th position. Blake Urquhart from 21st, and then, of course, Wade Michael came home 22nd. Craig Newell, 23rd. Then Scott McKeon, Brian Cooper, Daniel Schultz, Steve Vella, Craig Hopkins, Tom Heyman. Disappointing finish for him. It looks like it all turned to the proverbial for him, unfortunately, there in the closing stages. Lindsay Hobbs was 30th. Jim Delios, David Leslie, Ben Siren, Bradley Vaughan, and then John Nicolaou and Michael Imasuria rounded out the finishing order. Disappointing night for Michael Imasuria as well. You don't normally see him not finishing the race. There were a few retirements in the end there. And as I say, with Bradley Vaughan, that was such a great run from him in the early stages. He went from 35th up to as high as 5th at one point, then has come home 34th. John Nicolaou, a retirement early on that we didn't get to mention, and also Michael Imasuria. That crash for him in the early stages was enough for him to just park it in the pit lane and hit the old ESC button, as they say. Chris, we'll get the drivers in here to chat in just a moment, but your observations of all of that. This series just keeps delivering in spades on a Tuesday night. 4 different winners to start the season, and I think I'm right in saying 4 different teams as well. The variety, the competition here is next level, isn't it?
Oh, it is, mate, and I've been watching some really good drivers over in our league, and these guys will put it to them as well. So a cross-competition race would be absolutely, or a cross-league race would be absolutely fantastic. The Lasses, the Rayners, the Camerons up against the Mikeys, who we got, the Hobbos, and all those over there with us. What a race that would be. But fantastic driving from all these drivers. Welcome to our podium guys there. To Rayner, I've been backing you for the last 4 weeks now, so 3 weeks, whatever it is. And you finally pulled it through for me. As I said, go you good little thing, young thing.
That's it.
And congratulations.
Well, both, actually.
Little and both,
Little and, yeah, exactly.
He looks like one of my grandkids.
I was going to say, well, let's leave the age difference out of that for the moment, because we don't need to go down that avenue. But Lee Davis was due to be our safety car driver tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And how lonely must he have felt sitting in that pit lane all on his lonesome, not being called upon once. A safety car free race, I didn't think it would be, because of the trigger points around this circuit, particularly in the opening laps when everyone was well bunched together. But again, that's testament to the standard of driving in this series and the cleanliness in which these guys conduct themselves. Yes, there was a little bit of argy-bargy and a little bit of bump and grind and a little bit of niggle here and there, but to get through 36 cars through the first few corners, through the first few laps, cleanly without needing to call upon the safety car because the tracks ended up blocked or something silly, that was a nice, pleasant thing to see, because it meant that we were able to keep the rhythm going with the race, and what a race it was. In the end, 57 minutes and 45, shortest race of the championship thus far in terms of time from lights out to the checkered flag. Rayner Costello, mate, We've been talking up your drive
Right.
all night long. What a performance from you. Let's just have a look at here, of course. I mean, the E1 Sim Racing entry, 2020 NTS Bathurst 1000 winner, bringing the mighty Fords home. Second win for the manufacturer this championship. He's first. Mate, you started second. You got pipped by Cameron Jones for pole. That was an epic scrap between you and the two teammates, Jones and Veacock, in the opening stanza. And then, out of the blue, first round of pit stop comes, and you go on the alternate strategy. You're one of only maybe 5 or 6 to do it, where you take tyres in the second stop. A gamble that we were questioning at the time, but one that well and truly paid off for you, mate. Well done.
I stuck up for him.
You did.
But yeah, it was a bit of a bold strategy. I also decided to put 20 liters less of fuel on, so that was to try and get track position. I was struggling a bit in behind Cameron Veacock, and the aim was to just get a bit of track position, run my own laps, and then put the tyres on at the second stop. So yeah, I think both the Camerons ran into a bit of trouble, I believe. So that sort of gifted me first place, and I drove it home from there.
Were you feeling a little bit more pressure because you had one teammate ahead and one teammate behind, and they were teammates from the same stable, and they could have potentially ganged up on you if push come to shove later on in the proceedings?
Oh, definitely. It's always a bit of a something that's in the back of your mind, but it was good, clean racing for that first stint. So yeah, that was all good. It was pretty good to have Matt Davis up in 4th place. That was an awesome result for him. So great for the E1 boys.
It certainly was. Hey, just talk to us quickly, because we were sitting here crunching the numbers, and you proved us right yet again, that and Lassif, we'll get to him in just a moment, because his numbers were another talking point throughout the broadcast too, for different reasons. You mentioned that you took 20 litres less in pit stop number 1. That meant that you had to take pretty much, I'm assuming, a full tank on in the second stop. And you reached that critical number, which was lap 20, lap 21. We knew that if you pitted at the end of lap 20, the end of lap 21, you could make it home based on fuel burn and how much tank capacity was and all that sort of stuff. So obviously it was just a case of getting those older tyres through an extra 6-7 laps, and then taking on a fresh set and having the advantage over everyone that took the set on lap 14.
Yeah, exactly. That was the plan, but towards the end of the second stint, my shifter started downshifting twice every time I shifted.
Oh, no.
So I was struggling with the rears locking, but that fixed itself for the last stint. But yeah, the aim was to just get the tyres on for the second stop and bring it home.
How were the tyres after that shorter second stint, mate? When you got the fresh set on, how were the tyres that went off the car?
Oh, the tyres that went off the car were pretty gone by that stage. Yeah, in the first stint, I didn't do the best job of managing them when I was in behind Cameron. That's definitely something I'll need to work on with myself. But yeah, they weren't looking too pretty after the first stint. The second stint, sorry.
No, yeah, exactly. And this must be nice, mate, because you were so close at Barber Motorsport Park to getting the better of Tommy Heyman. It didn't work out for you there. It must be nice to get the monkey off the back and win one of the season under your belt.
Yeah, definitely. After Bathurst, I wanted to sort of prove that I could do it elsewhere, not just there. So it's nice first round win for the season. Hopefully we can continue this form.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about that a little bit later on, because when we start to preview the next round of the championship, we'll come back to that very comment, because it's something. It's a critical thing you've just mentioned when you look at how important consistency is from track to track, and knowing that not everyone favours every circuit we go to. On that subject, let's bring in Lassif Villeneuve, our second place getter tonight. Good evening to you, mate. A great drive as well to back up the performance last week at Oran Park. But the youngster just picked you in the end. Talk us through the night from your perspective. You went from 4th to 2nd and did so as somewhat of a quiet achiever, actually.
Well, to be honest, mate, it's been an interesting race. It was more of a pit stop strategy for me than just outright pace today. I just did not have the quali pace get right up the front, but second row was good enough. Keep me fighting for the podium. But I mean, second corner incident really really hurt me confident wise for the first couple of laps, just so I can settle down. Car was on two wheels, and I felt like I was squeezed a little bit into the inside, and I grabbed a little bit too much curb. So after that, it was just getting settled in, and I was getting a lot of pressure from Matt Davis right behind me. He's sitting fifth, and I think I was sitting fourth at the time. And yeah, it was a tough race. I mean, I had the pace to match the guys at the front, but I did not have the pace to close the gap. So pit stop was what I was looking forward to.
Well, that's exactly right. Let's talk about the first pit stop, because that came lap 14. That put you in good stead for the second stint. You were one of the many that took tyres at that stop. Obviously, we'll come back to that factor in just a moment. But the second stop, we're sitting here wondering, when are you going to stop? When are you going to stop? Because the critical number was, if you wanted to top up full tank, get home, was lap 2021. You stretched it all the way out to lap 29, and we were of the assumption, we were of the belief that that fuel tank of yours would have been on fumes. Absolutely, because we were of the belief that you couldn't get any more than about 15 and a half laps to a tank, so you were right on the button.
Yeah, I'm not too bad with fuel saving and still getting the pace out of the car and looking after the tires at the same time. So I thought the best way to get track position the way I wanted was to pit right at the last minute. So and that's exactly what I did. And I think I just pipped Cameron coming out of turn 2. So
yep.
That gave me valuable track position at the same time. So
certainly did. But GC, he made you work hard for second in the end, especially firing it down the inside with a lap and a half to go.
Yeah. Well, that was an interesting second to last lap. I knew Cameron had the draft, so I had to get defensive, and that's exactly what I did. Yeah.
Laz, there's something to be said about your consistency, mate. I think this is the third time we've now had you in our post-race show. It seems as though we've gone to circuits that suit you well, and it should be reflected with either first or second in the championship, depending upon how much Rayner closes the gap tonight. But you're in a good stead at the quarterway point of the series.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a track that I favored, but I put in a bit of time because of it, so I can try and put the car in the pointy end, so I can try and avoid all the drama in the first lap. So yeah, I think that paid off quite well. Definitely not one of my strong tracks, but hold on to it.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. We'll have a look at those championship points when they're ready, but not just yet, because I want to get Cameron Veacock in here for a quick chat first. Mate, that was an intense race, not just from the commentary box, but I can imagine from the cockpit as well. You had a very good opening stint. It was you against your teammate, and also the eventual race winner, Rayner Costello. Second stint, a little bit less intense. And then the run home, by gee, you worked hard. Unfortunately, Velasquez pipped you for second, but it must be nice to be back on the podium.
Sorry, gents, I forgot I said to push to talk, and I pushed the wrong button. I was trying to talk in there.
Mate, don't worry, that happens to the best of them all the time.
No, it was definitely a good race. The boys did a really good job. I killed myself coming into the pit lane in my second stop. I actually locked the rears up and spun, so I had a half spin. And it cost me about 9 seconds of position. So, yeah, a bit annoyed with myself over that, but hey, look, that's racing, I guess.
Well, not as bad as your teammate's second stop, because he ended up speeding in pit lane and getting a 40-second penalty. So, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. You had the better luck of the draw there.
Yeah, definitely. I feel sorry for Cam. He was doing really well, and we were going together there for ages. And coming to that second stop, I think he just got a little bit too hot coming into the lane, and yeah, copped the 40-second stop and hold.
Let's just talk about the first stint for a moment, because had the first stint turned into, had the third stint turned into a replica of the first stint, and it was you three you, Cameron, and also, of course, Rainer fighting for the race win. Were you guys planning on ganging up on him and using the teammate tactics to make it work a 1-2 for you there? Because it looked like you were content sitting there with him in the middle there in the opening stint, but I don't think you would have been content in the last stint letting that be the case.
Well, looking at the strategies, I think Rainer took tyres in the first stint, so I had a fresh set, so did Cam Jones. So had we played that situation out and we would be in the same position for the third stint, I think we would have got away from him having fresher boots on.
Well,
No, I put tyres on.
So, did you?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was going to say, Rainer, just talk us through. Was it tyres in the second stint for you at the second stop, rather?
Tyres at the second stop.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, so it's the reverse. Rainer was actually on the fresher rubber there, but in the end, Cameron. Talk to me about the closing stages of the race, if you don't mind, because the pressure was on between you and Lassiv, and you had a serious crack down the inside going into the hairpin. Did you have to invent a little bit of room there, because it didn't look like there was a car width available to you?
There was definitely a car width available, but I knew I had to get my nose up the inside to try and get his spotter to say that I was there, and then hope he didn't come across in front of me, which he left me room. Unfortunately, I didn't get the drive out, and then we actually crossed paths coming into the last chicane. It just completely bottomed my run up because he had to pull up a lot more than I thought he was going to. So,
well, yeah, that's exactly right. I was going to say the lap traffic did make things a little bit challenging there coming down the casino straight. In the end, though, is third a pass mark for you? You start where you finish, no moving forward, at least you didn't drop backwards. It would have been nice to be closer to Rainer, sure, but is third a good night at the office for you? Is that a pass mark?
Look, any podium's a good pass mark. Just stood dirty with myself that I managed to lose all that time coming into the pit lane, and that killed me from there on.
Let's talk about that. Lassif, it is a challenging pit lane compared to many that we see. I mean, none beat Oran Park in terms of challenging pit lanes, just quietly. That is a real dog's breakfast, if you don't mind me saying so. But coming into the pit lane here, because you're going harder and faster, you're full tilt coming down the casino straight. You slam on the brakes normally, thinking about turn 13, 14. You go that little bit extra when you've got to take into consideration that you're slowing down for the pit limiter or the pit lane entry line, not that 13, 14. And we saw some people get caught out by it tonight. What's the trick to pit entry in Montreal, if you don't mind sharing that with us, please?
Oh, I mean, doing a bit of practice beforehand in the pit entry and getting that braking marker right, and then obviously get your gears down and hit the pit limit at the right time, so you don't lock up your rears. So I think I've done enough pit entry to practice that, and so I could nail it in the race.
And just coming back to you, Cameron Veacock, when you look at that pit entry, it must be a little bit confusing for you guys and a little bit of a pain when your brake marker for the corner is at one sign and one pivotal point on the racetrack, and then your brake marker for pit entry is at another.
Definitely so. Like, you're coming in there at a lot higher speed. You're pushing that breaker to the absolute maximum to try and pull it up. And unfortunately, this time it just pinched the rears. This is actually the first laps I've done here all week, because I was suffering a bit of a medical problem up after last week up to Oran Park, because I had the incident in the wall at Oran Park. I have been having a bit of a problem all week, so I haven't actually had that practice. So that's my own fault coming into the pit lane, but we'll move on and get into it next week.
Indeed, we will. Rainer Costello, let's go back to you. When we look at the outcome of this race, it'll show that you went from second to first. It won't show how intense that race was. How much does a race like that, where, I mean, Kisby and I here in the commentary box, we went for about 40 minutes before we even took a breath. It was one of those intense sort of races. And Matt Davis is going to join us for a chat in just a moment, the man that scored fourth tonight. And there's some highlights on your screen of some awkward moments, let's put it that way, going into the hairpin. For you though, Rainer, how much energy does a race like that, which was intense from go to woe, take out of the system?
Oh, for concentration levels, the Supercars race takes everything because you've got to manage tyres, you've got to constantly be racing other drivers because it's so close. You've got to consider strategy, one small slip up under brakes or downshifts or on the power and you're gone in these cars. So, yeah, it definitely takes a lot of effort. And, yeah, it's no small feat driving these for this long, 38, 35 laps.
And that being said, it was actually the shortest race of the championship in terms of time. Yet it's one of the. I don't think it's the longest in terms of kilometre distance, but of course very intense considering that we didn't have a safety car to break it up. Matt Davis, welcome into you for the first time this evening, mate. You turned the fifth into a fourth. You've got to be happy.
Yeah, mate, I'm absolutely stoked with that. So I think it's the best finish for the NTS so far. So no, I'm absolutely wrapped.
Talk us through your night because our eyes, we didn't get to see much of you. Our eyes were on battles that were happening all around you. Did you have a peaceful night at the office, or was it a little bit more difficult than what the result board suggests?
It was actually a very cruisy night. After Laz checked out from me once my tyres decided to give way, I just sort of race and yeah, had a bit of a lonely one out on track.
All right, let's go back and visit that point, tyres, because the one fresh set in the pit lane rule is creating a little bit of intrigue as far as the championship is concerned and as far as strategy is concerned. Cameron Veacock, given that Rayner took tyres on lap 21, the rest of you pretty well took them on lap 14, 15. How were your tyres at that time, and was it in the strategy to come in earlier or later in the second stint, depending upon which way you went with tyres? Why take the tyres at lap 15, knowing you've got to get 20 laps out of them? Or alternatively, were the tyres in a bad enough state to warrant taking the second set at that time?
No, so my tyres at the first stop were actually feeling really good. So Cam and myself made the decision to stay on the set we were on. Yep. And take our set at the next stop as early as we could. So we were crunching some numbers to try and work out when we came in, and I was the first one to jump, and then Cam was the next lap.
Yep. And I think Rayner was in around the same time as well. Sorry, trying to absorb a lot of info. I missed that you were actually one of the ones that went second. But Lassif, you definitely went tyres first stop. What was the decision making in that process, please? Let's go through the motions here and get a little bit of clarity on that, because it was a double-edged sword. There was no safety car at that point to help anybody out. It was either take tyres in stop 1 or take tyres in stop 2. It was always going to be a case of one set is going to get really worn out and the other set's going to be a little bit better condition. It just was a decision, and most of the paddock jumped at the first stop. You were one of them. Tell us why.
I mean, I've tested the tyres up to 25 laps on this track, and I could still drive it around the same lap times as a 10-lap all tyres. So I thought the best thing to do is get the tyres out of the way early, get some track position, and then run the same set of tyres for the last, 6 or 7 laps. So that worked out quite well.
It certainly did. And the interesting thing for mine, Chris Kisby, just listening to the guys here, well, some weeks they give away less than others, and some weeks they give away more. But that's one of the great things about the series, isn't it? That there is strategy, tactical play that has to be mapped out before you go out onto the racetrack. Yes, safety cars and other things can throw a spanner in the works there, and it didn't tonight, which meant that you had a decision to make. And what was also interesting for mine was the second stop, based on tyre selection, based on fuel strategy, and Rayner proved that as well. It varied between lap 21 and lap 29 when these guys were coming in for their second stop.
Well, that's right. I mean, young Rayner there, he went an extra lap on fuel in that first stint. Didn't change his tyres. He was happy enough with his tyres to get right the way through. And I think I said that really early. He must be happy with the way that he's handling them, and to save those new tyres for when he has to have a battle with Leonage and Cameron. Matt, when he's got to have a battle, he's got the fresher tyres. So in that aspect, it's up the same with the up and comers that I run here with the really young guys, the
Yep.
guys that are just getting into the racing world. We're teaching them this strategy, and I quite often say to them, look at some of the other leagues, look at our top drivers, and see where they're making their pit stops. Ask them why. Most of the guys, I'm pretty sure the guys in this league would be the same as the guys in our league. Will be, if you ask them, don't be scared. If you ask them, they'd be welcome to share the knowledge, so long as they're not racing.
Yeah, exactly. There's a certain time and place for some members of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. And good evening to those of you that are tuning in from the GSRC tonight. Good evening to those of you watching all around Australia, all around the world. Again, we mentioned we've got a bloke watching in Scotland tonight. Good on him. I mean, today, of course, it's still, 11 o'clock in the morning over there in Scotland.
It's just amazing to watch all these little strategies play out.
Exactly right.
Rayner got it right tonight, and hopefully he'll get it right for the next couple of weeks as well.
On that subject, let's bring Alex Court in because he's been kind enough to join us as well. He finished 5th tonight. Started 8th on the grid, moved forward to 5th. That's a pass mark, Alex. Just didn't have the pace to go with the guys around you, but tell us about the night from your standpoint, mate. It was a pretty intense race.
Yeah, it was. First of all, congratulations to the podium. Well done. As far as my race, I got a pretty bad start, and I was pretty lucky not to get a penalty. I think I had a bit of contact there with Ben Morris. Luckily, nothing came out of that, so we're able to keep racing. But look, I just did my thing. Head down, bum up.
Yep.
Us race controllers, mate, we do like some door-to-door action.
Yeah, look,
we don't ping you all the time.
No, I don't think he called it. So I had a look at the replay after the race. Yeah, it did.
One of those skin of your teeth moments. No doubt about that. Hey, we've got about 15 minutes here, boys. There are two things I want to get through. Firstly, and one is the championship points. When JP's ready, we'll fling them up on the screen here and update you on where things stand after this round of the championship. No surprise there. Lassif Leonage on top still, 590. But look at that. The gaps are closing. Rayner Costello with that win tonight goes to 547, sitting in 4th, level with Cameron Jones. And Cameron Veacock is now sitting there pretty in 2nd on 570. So Leonage extends the buffer from 18 to 20. But the rest of the pack is closing in there, particularly Rayner Costello. So that was a really good points haul for him and a good step in the right direction going forward as far as the NTS Championship is concerned. 5th is Jacob Brewer still. Alex Court moves up into 6th, 517, 506 for Chris Island, 485 for Blake Urquhart. And then really tighten the battle for 9th, Robert Crisdale, 476. And Ben Morris on 474. We'll let those points scroll through 11 through 20. Powell, Barnes, Hobbs, McCune, Newell, Schultz, Davis, Dawson, and Schultz the top 20. Over the page, some more. Leslie, Hopkins, Vella, Cooper, Caldwell, and then we go back to Mulford, Katakazinas, who was the most positions gained tonight, but it serves him no purpose at all because there aren't bonus points for it. Benny Siren, Wade Michael and Bradley Vaughan made up the top 30. Tommy Heyman buried down in 34th after a disappointing finish tonight, but he'll come on leaps and bounds, I'm sure, in the weeks ahead. Sean McNamara, Peter Crossingham, Simon Chadwick, just ahead of him, Simon, Salima Surya, Dibadito, and then we go back to Delios Nikolov and Kirby behind him. Kirby will be back on the grid next week as well, having missed the last 2 weeks. Hope he's enjoying himself up there in North Queensland as well. I can't believe there wasn't anyone in North Queensland willing to loan him a sim rig for a couple of weeks. Fair dinkum. Hey, let's continue the conversation here because there's a couple of points to get to. Let's start with next week. Then we'll get to sponsor thank yous. Then we'll get to the calendar change that came through into my inbox today. Now, as far as the calendar is concerned, ladies and gentlemen, from Montreal, we make our way to Sonoma in California next week. So we stay in North America and it's a super sprint race, which means 2 for the price of 1, ladies and gentlemen. A total of 41 laps across 2 races next week, and I believe some reverse grid play in there as well. So let's... Second race reverse grid, is that right? All right, copy that. Thank you, JP. Just getting word in my ear there to make sure that I don't make a deal of myself. Let's get your thoughts on that, please, Rainer Costello, because we haven't got too many of these reverse grid rounds. I think there's only 2 of them in the entire series, but they could play a pivotal role in how this championship plays out, especially when you look at the fact that Sonoma is one of those circuits where overtaking opportunities aren't always easy to come by.
Yeah, well, out of the next 4 tracks, I only have one of them, so we'll have to get some new tracks and get some practice down. But I like reverse grid races. They really give the opportunity to some other guys to get up the front and get that experience, and it's always fun trying to fight your way through the pack. So that should be fun. I'll definitely do a lot of practice, try and get lap times up there, and we'll see how we go.
Let's continue talking about Sonoma, then we'll get back down to round number 9, because you can see that there's been a change there. We'll get to that in just a moment. Let's get Lasse Leonard's thoughts on reverse grid racing and Sonoma as well, mate. I mean, critical point of the championship, because it is the start of the second quarter of the season, if we can put it that way. It's a track that throws up some great racing. Doesn't matter whether it's stock cars, IndyCar or supercars. But again, the fact that you're throwing reverse grid racing into a track where the run into turn 1 is always a little bit hairy when there's a big field, next week could produce some fireworks.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, having a reverse grid race on a tight track like that with less passing opportunities, and it's gonna be an interesting one. Yeah, I've only done a handful of laps on Sonoma, probably about 12 months ago. So, wasn't even Supercar, so it's gonna be definitely work cut out for me this week.
Indeed, getting ready for that. How do you find the reverse grid races, though, mate? We know they've featured here in the NTS series before. How do you approach that? Is it go hell for leather, try and get as far up the field as you can, or is it manage the risk and try and walk away with as many championship points as possible through playing it safe? What's the plan of attack?
What I usually do is try and get the maximum points in the first race, and trying to manage traffic in the second one. So don't do anything silly, and because it's very easy to get penalties trying to go through the traffic.
Indeed. Now, we're just going back through to Cameron Veacock here. Barber threw up some great racing. That was the last stop on American soil. Now we go to the West Coast. What are your thoughts going into Sonoma? Because you're due for a race win, given that we've already had 4 race winners so far this season. You and Matt are 2 of the ones here in the chat room that are due for a race win, and Alex Court can't be far away as well. What's your plan of attack going into next week?
Look, Sonoma's going to be one of those tracks where it's either you're gonna do something, or you're gonna have lots of problems because it's so tight. The undulation and the way that it moves around is going to be interesting. All I can say for the reverse grid, it's going to be interesting. We're going to have to do some laps, like the boys said. We're all going to have to practice because it's going to be chaos.
It certainly is. Hey, Matt Davis, I'm going to come to you in a moment because I want to talk to you more about tomorrow night and just get a little bit of a teaser for that. Let's go to Alex Court, though, with regards to not Sonoma. We're going to skip ahead because we're starting to run out of time here. We've only got 10 minutes left, boys. Round 9, there's been a change here, ladies and gentlemen. Have a look at this, if you don't mind. I said at the end of last week's call that we were going on a 6-week sweep through North America. That has now been reduced to 5, and we are going to Phillip Island in round 9, in week 9, rather than Lime Rock Park. My calculations suggest that a 36-lap race gives us bang on 160 kilometres. But distances and times and everything else will be advised very shortly. It'll still be a 7:30 Eastern time broadcast because that's after we switch back from daylight saving in the civilized and progressive parts of the country. Whereas, it's just the track that's changed. And it's a significant change as well, Rainer, because Lime Rock Park, a lot shorter, and the lap times go by a lot quicker, 55, 56 seconds. here, Phillip Island, well, firstly, an Australian track that we all know and love. Second, a lot more real estate to play with because it's 4.45 kilometres long. And thirdly, given that it's so popular, given that so many people like it, it's going to make the competition a lot more fierce, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great. I love Phillip Island. It's a great track. Really promotes racing with the slipstream down the front straight in the first two turns. Lime Rock, it's definitely a tighter and more tricky track, but yeah, I'm all up for the change to Phillip Island.
It sounds like you're not alone there. Lasse Villeneuve, what are your thoughts on that? Because Lime Rock isn't everyone's cup of tea, but it's essentially, I've heard it described as America's equivalent to Lakeside, which probably isn't too far off an accurate description there. But it isn't everyone's cup of tea because it can become a little bit processional in the sense that if no one makes a mistake, it's very hard to make an overtaking opportunity. Whereas Phillip Island, you think Southern Loop, you think Turn 1, you think Turn 4, you think Lukey Heights. There's a lot of action points around that circuit. Is this a good change in your opinion?
Look, I'm quite happy with either one of those tracks, but Phillip Island I definitely favour. I've done quite a few laps in real life as well as in the sim. And I know some of the guys here are quite strong in Phillip Island, so and I can say I'm the same that aspect. So it should be very close racing. Very close.
What about your thoughts, Alex Court? Because it throws a spanner in the works for anyone that might have already looked ahead to Lime Rock. They've now got to get rid of that and put Phillip Island at front of mine. Yes, we've got 5 weeks before we get there, but still it is a little bit of a shift in the preparation here as we get ready for what will be the midway point of the championship. 8 gone, 8 to go, but that critical round 9, a sprint race around the island. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Either way, Lime Rock, Phillip Island, it doesn't bother me. I'll still prepare the same way as any other round.
Cameron Veacock, do you prefer Lime Rock or Phillip Island? Obviously, Phillip season in season 2 of the championship rather than Lime Rock as well. So what are your thoughts on this?
Look, I think the change is a good one. I like both tracks, as the boys have said. They're both interesting for their own reasons, but I think Lime Rock's going to be very, very tight for the amount of cars we have, and there could be a lot more problems than, let's say, Phillip Island, where it's a bit more open, a bit quicker, and a bit more opportunity to overtake, that's all.
Well, that's, yeah, exactly right. Rainer, as the race winner tonight, you can lead us off here. You've got some people to thank, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Coghlan Race Engineering, Daniel Coghlan, our sponsor. He also does all the setups for the GAC series, Total IT Solutions Brisbane, E1 Sim Racing for all their support, and congrats to all of our guys on great results tonight. And I'd like to thank all the series sponsors, JP, all the everyone that volunteers their time, and you for commentating tonight.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you. Hey, just quickly on the subject of Coghlan, was that a 4-wide run down there for a photo opportunity at the post race?
Oh yeah, we really wanted to get a formation finish, so that was pretty cool to get all 4 cars going side by side at the end. Oh, also I'd like to give a shout out to my dad for watching the whole race.
Very nicely done. Gets the plugs in while he can. Good boy. Hey, let's go to Lasse Villeneuve now, and you can have the floor, mate, to thank whoever you want.
Thanks, mate. Just want to thank SimShed Broadcasting, Nationwide Tracking Systems, Goody Auto Care Warana, Dragon RC, DSL Welding Services, Abruzzi Australia, VR Covers, Cars for Hope, Racing Boardism Australia, Blue Stampede Labour Hire, and just want to thank all you guys, everyone watching, and JP for putting all the hard yards, and everyone in the admin team, race control, and in broadcast as well. And finally, big happy birthday to my boy. He's just turned 11. Happy birthday, Rehan, and hopefully have a good race tomorrow.
Well, I was going to say, there's a talking point, because we'll get Matt to preview tomorrow night's race in just a moment. Matt, I am coming to you very shortly. You can have a chance to thank your people as well, but I'm going to bounce to Cameron and Alex before I get to you. Cameron Veacock, the floor is yours, mate.
Yeah, just want to give a shout out to the guys looking after the series. So JP, you guys in commentators, all the guys in race control, they do a tireless job. I do race control for another series, and I know how hard it is. And then obviously to my teammate Cam Jones, he's yeah, we've got to work on getting up there, get both cars up there together. We both start well, but then we fall over. But for our sponsors, just want to thank Harrop, Adrad, Natrad, Valvoline, Too Easy Finance, West End Mazda, and Parramatta Isuzu U.
Nicely done, mates. Alex Court, you can bring us home with regards to this one, please.
Yeah, so first of all, Racing with Autism Australia and sorts of disabilities, SimShed Broadcasting, Nationwide Tracking System, Goodyear Auto Care Rarana, Dragon RC, DSL Welding, Brutesy Racewear Australia, VR Cover, Cars for Hope, Blue Stampede Labour Hire, and also just want to give a shout out to Gary Bradshaw over in New Zealand for each week and supporting.
Nicely done, mate. Thank you for that. Hey, Matt Davis, Chris Kisby, before I move on to the next point of business, have I forgotten to ask these guys any particular question tonight, or is there anything you want to throw at them?
For me, no, I think we covered it all there. I know you're going to ask me driver of the night.
Yeah, but hold off on that. Hold off on that. I'm going to come back to you.
All right.
Yep. Matt Davis, what are your thoughts? Have anything you want to throw to the boys?
Nah, mate, nothing really. Just a thanks to JP, the man behind the scenes, who puts on such an amazing series, and of course to yourself, Zach, and Chris in the background there, mate. Awesome commentating as per usual. I try and back you guys up on a Wednesday night for the Goodyear Auto Care Warana V8 T2E series, which goes live at 7:30 Eastern Standard Times.
We're a hard act to follow.
Yeah, no, definitely are a hard act. So, no, definitely to the viewers watching, jump over and watch the up and coming talent run that tomorrow night, starting from 7:30 Eastern Time, and join myself and Mr. Aidan Schultz in the commentary booth. Aidan's doing a superb job in commentary, so glad to have him alongside me.
Yeah, and trust me, if there's a Wednesday night coming up where I can loan my time to you guys, I'll jump in and have some fun with you. But at the moment, I'm contractually obliged with the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club and the Up and Comers on a Wednesday night. So we'll get to that in a little bit of time here. We are just out of time, folks, but we're going to go a little bit over because, Matt, firstly, you can thank some people because that's your best finish of the season thus far, and one that I know you're wrapped with.
Yeah, no, thanks, mate. Yeah, look, big shout out to F Suicide for suicide awareness and Beyond Blue. Obviously raising funds for Beyond Blue this season, so make sure to dip into the pockets and donate to them guys. Obviously Brutesy Waste Racewear, SimShed Broadcasting, Coglin Engineering, Total IT Solutions Brisbane, and obviously the boys over at E1 Sim Racing, especially Arena. He's the leader of the team with the fastest times, and he's always taken time out of his nights to really help us dial in the lap. So big thank you to those boys over there for supporting us.
All right, let's have a look ahead as far as SimShed Broadcasting is concerned. You can see it on your screen there, folks. Nationwide Tracking Systems V8 Super Series every Tuesday night, 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time. And, of course, next week, the stop on the calendar is Sonoma, round 5 of the championship. Goodyear Auto Care Warana V8 T2E Series tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time. The stop, Montreal, Canada, just as it was for the main series tonight. And, of course, Matt and Aidan will be with you in commentary for all of that. 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time, 7:30 if you're stuck up here about 112 years behind in Queensland, of course. Poor JP and IA. Anscar Brutesy Cup, oval racing, stock car style. It's been a great start to the season. Looking forward to a few of the events coming up here, particularly, Road America, the Indy Road Course, all to look forward to this year as NASCAR steps up its presence on road courses, but the oval racing for the time being. And that'll be from 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time on Thursday night. Then slightly earlier on the Friday night than what's advertised there, it's about 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time. We get stuck into it for the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club Friday night double head up. And of course, this week it'll be Freaky Friday from car and venue to be confirmed Thursday night. And then, of course, into the IndyCars from Gateway. And we cannot wait for that. Hey, Matt, quickly, just before we wrap up here, mate, thoughts on what's going to unfold in the Goodyear V8 T2E series for Goodyear Auto Care. I mean, the racing's been fantastic thus far. If it's anything like what we've had here, you and Aidan Schultz will be hoarse at the end of the night tomorrow night because Kisby and I are. But as far as the racing's concerned, I mean, we've had 4 different winners from 4 rounds. What can we expect tomorrow night in the T2E series?
Mate, if it's anything to go by last week with the middle figure racing lockout, 1, 2, 3, I'm sure there's a few boys in the pack ready for a bit of redemption. So keep your eyes peeled. There's probably going to be a lot of action around here. I mean, there was heaps of action tonight out on track for the Super Series. So the Goodyear Auto Care V8 T2E series is definitely going to be full of it. Hopefully, I'm going for young Rehan here. It's his birthday today, so happy birthday to you, mate. And hopefully he gets a good result tonight and tomorrow night and can take out a win, his first race win.
Indeed, and again, Simshed Broadcasting. I always trip over the S's. I'm as bad as Kenny Callender, and I haven't got the lisp. But Simshed Broadcasting, Real Sim Racing Australasia, they're the 2 pages on Facebook in which you can get amongst all the action over on YouTube as well. Make sure you come and join the boys tomorrow night for all of that. I'll see you for Gentlemen Sim Racing Club action for the next 2 nights, and then back here Friday night on Simshed Broadcasting for IndyCar action. So looking forward to that immensely. Boys, thank you for your time tonight. Really appreciate that. Kisby, driver of the night, and a final thought from you, please.
My driver, Rayner. Just such
Absolutely.
a great pit strategy tonight. He got it right and drove the race to absolute perfection. Great racing from everybody right the way throughout. As these guys probably know, I'm not a high-end racer. I'm a mid to rear pack racer, but I just love watching these guys and learning from them every week, whether it be our club, whatever series I'm watching. So congratulations. You're a real credit to the esports.
Indeed they are, mate. Thank you for your efforts in commentary. I really appreciate that. I'll see you later in the week on GSRC coverage and, of course, back here next week for Sonoma, which we've already tackled over in the GSRC.
Yeah,
so
we have.
Looking forward to another trip there.
Yeah. It's yes, I'll be in the car tomorrow night for up and comers, mate. So and then probably race control for the top split V8. So we'll
Looking
see.
forward. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, actually, if you are watching the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club action throughout the week, where the GTs, the V8s, and also the Porsches, they run multiple splits. We're doing second split this week to give those in the lower splits a bit of airtime. So second split tomorrow night for the Supercars and second split Thursday night for the Porsches. But less said about that, the better, because we want to focus on what's been an awesome night in Canada. One of the all-time great circuits, produced another classic in the iRacing platform. Reina Costello getting the job done. 4th different race winner of the season, but they're all still trying to keep up with Lasse Vlainage, who continues to lead the way in the championship. In fact, he extended his lead tonight out to 20 points now, and we're looking forward to what might unfold in the second quarter of the championship, which gets underway next week. Sonoma Raceway, California. Can't wait to have your company then. But for now, on behalf of Simshed Broadcasting and all the people that make it happen for us here, and I can't forget to mention them before we go out, of course, we need to thank not just Nationwide Tracking Systems and the great people at Racecraft Simulations, who, of course, were the naming rights sponsor of the Montreal 150, Blue Stampede, Labour Hire, and all of our other sponsors, Track Cams for Gourmet, Melbourne Hydrographics Depot, Hybrid Racing Simulations, TJM Parramatta, Dragon RC, and Abruzzi. A big thank you to all of them, because without them, this just simply doesn't happen. Great work from JP behind the scenes, as well as always tonight. We hope you've enjoyed the action as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. Can't wait to do it again next week, Friday night as well. Simshed Broadcasting, home to some IndyCar racing. You won't want to miss that. And enjoy everything else that's being offered up on the platform over the next 2 nights. And I look forward to your company Friday. Until then, for the team, thanks for your company. The Racecraft Simulations 150 done and dusted. 4 different winners to start the season. The record books are getting a workout this year. Can't wait to see how many names end up on that winners list by season's end. We might add a new one next week with some reverse grid racing in Sonoma. If you're not enjoying this series thus far, you're very difficult to please. But for now, on behalf of Chris Kisby and the team, I'm Zach Cabin, wishing you a very good night.
Good night.